Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 2 of the 2014 World Sport Series Championship here at GPVWC. My name is James Kirk, and I'll be taking you through all the action. As always, we're here at the Circuit de Catalunya, this 4.6-kilometre circuit. We'll be hosting 2 races of this rather interesting championship so far, for sure. We'll have one race of 14 laps in length, and then a second race of 14 laps in length, but with a reverse grid of 15 to 20 cars. We're at the beginning of qualifying at the moment. Super pole, 1 lap, and that's your lot. And interestingly enough, this is going to be the first ever qualifying session in WSS history where we have weight penalties affecting qualifying. So this is one of the few changes to WSS this year, apart from the brand new mod, of course. Weight penalties have been applied, and so first in the championship gets 45, second gets 36, third 27, fourth 18, and fifth gets 9 kilograms. Interestingly, Chris Butcher, who is leading the championship, is not here today. That doesn't mean that the weight gets deferred, it just means that the guy who's supposed to have 45 kilograms of penalty isn't here today. Nevertheless, we are on our first qualifying lap here at the Circuit de Catalunya with Matthew Allington for Enterprise GP. Now, interestingly, Matthew Allington completely flipped as a driver this year from what we've seen. Last year he was known as a qualifier, but he always seemed to lose it in the race. He always seemed to have some mistake of some sort, which meant that really where he should have been looking at potential top 5s, top 10s, he was looking more towards lower half of the top 10, potentially below the top 10 as well. This year, we've seen a complete flip, and we saw him qualify P7 last time in Bahrain. That was actually a really, really good lap from him. His best lap, in fact, of the Bahrain Sakir International Circuit. He's just seemed to have lost all his qualifying pace, yet his race pace seems a lot more solid. Not feeling that confident going into this session, but as he comes towards the end of Sector 2, running very wide there, actually out of a difficult right-hander, got to really modulate the throttle well there to maintain a good speed, and coming into this tight left-hand hairpin now. Just entering Sector 3, one of the more tight and twisty sections. You head up this uphill left, then right hill section. And again, you've got to modulate, a lot of modulating the throttle, I found, around Spain. Doesn't matter what car you're in, whether it's Porsche, single-seater, whatever. You've got to make sure that you're maintaining your speed, and now into this little sharp chicane, which he seems to traverse all right. And Allington will come around the final corner to set the first lap time to beat. We've seen the fastest time was about a 1:44.8 from free practice, and Matthew Allington a 1:46.7, as opposed to 2 seconds off the fastest. Of course, we're not going to say that we will see that as the fastest time. That's purely what the fastest time over the entire open practice and free practice session has been. Who else have we got on the lap? Here's one of the championship protagonists, Ruud Heesterbeek, out for Donus Engineering. Ruud is actually currently sitting in the handy position of P6 as Fran Lopez goes into provisional pole position on the 1:46.1, 6/10 clear. Allington, but Ruud currently inherited P6, the first man without weight penalty. And he's certainly looking to lay his marker down as one of a potential race winner here. Let's see what he can do as he crosses the line. He goes for a 1. Come on, timing screen. Oh no, he's starting his lap. Whoops. Completely over the thing there. Right, so let's see how Ruud does then on his flying lap. Not his outgoing lap there. Okay, so taking turn 1 and 2 pretty well. You're going to see a lot of locking up into turn 1 actually. They're not exactly the most agile of cars into the corners, are these Porsche cars. You'll see actually next week the Korea ladder arrives in Spain, and the cars around there just completely different to handle. You'll see them taking the corners so much better, and I'll tell you what, I must really praise all these guys for being able to do this circuit as quick as they do in these Porsche cars, because I detest them. I've not gotten the handle of them at all, and it doesn't help by the fact that the setup is so closed off as well. So those guys that you see doing the top times and being clear of quite a few people, they are really, really having to handle the car. As I said last week, a real driver's car are these flat 6 Porsches, and Ruud Heesterbeek taking that same corner which we saw Allington go very wide at, very nicely indeed, straddling the curve well, and now entering into Sector 3. Oh, that's a bit of a lock-up. But he's able to save it, from what I can tell. Not really attacking that left-hander as much as we thought. Taking a bit of a tighter line into the right-hander and then into this very tight section. I see Fran Lopez has left, so we've got to remember his pole time so far was a 1:46.1. Rude Easterbeek notably taking the chicane a little bit cleaner. Nallington not straddling the curves, as we saw the Englishman do earlier. As Ross McGregor, one-time race for Ice Cold Racing, we believe, is instantly deposed by Rude Easterbeek. So Rude, essentially a 1:45.5, only 2 thousandths off a 0.5. He's on a 4.98. And he deposes Ross McGregor, the Scotsman, who's coming, as I say, for one round only for Ice Cold Racing. And so that would make it an Adonis Ice Cold top 3 at the moment. Let's see who else is on a lap at the moment. We've got a couple more people coming onto the line. So Ilya Bracalo, a 1:46.1 for triple 20. I think that puts him solidly into P3. Victor Silva there across the line, a 1:46.9, that puts him P7. And there's a lot of people on their outlaps, I'd imagine. Let's see whether we can't get one of the front runners. Ah, here we go. Let's have a look at this action now. So, Midnight Motorsports, Alex Cooper. What a terrible start to the season he had in pretty much all categories. He's left Super Cup and he is also left WSS, and in his place comes Matt Richards, who is on his outlap now, just coming around the long right-hander. We see ahead of him Sender Race, but we're going to focus on Matt for the moment. So the Welshman really being lined up as one of the next generation of hot prospects in sim racing, and the fact that he's been picked up by Midnight, I think, is a real tribute to just how much he has come along from early days of touring cars and rather dodgy days of Formula Challenge to winning races in the ITC for Aerostream, his own team, and actually being picked up by Midnight Motorsport for the World Sports Series, a series where Midnight, of course, are trying to defend their team's championship. They're only sitting in P5 at the moment and a good 30 points off the current championship leader, Smile Power, so they had to do something, and I think it's really interesting that they put a lot of faith in Matt. He's one of the younger drivers here, in his late teens, of course, and going slightly wide. I wonder if he's going to let his... Yeah, he's going to let his teammate Tom Parker through, interestingly, so interesting to see that, but we'll keep an eye on Matt Richards, actually, to see how he does on his first qualifying lap with Midnight Motorsport, one of the biggest outfits. So just to give you a reminder of the top 5 so far, we've got Easterbeek on a 45.5, McGregor on a 45.5, Bracalo on a 46.1, so a big gap there to be filled from second to third, Lopez on a 46.1, and Benedictus Sinkevicius for Waters Automotive is on a 46.2. So let's go on board with Matt Richards around the circuit to Catalunya. Heading down into turn 1 now. We can see Ryan Walker just coming out the pits on the right there. That's always going to be a distraction for some of the drivers. Not so for Matt Richards, taking turn 1 and turn 2 very nicely, actually. Much cleaner than some of the other drivers I've seen take it. Even the likes of Rude Easterbeek have taken that a bit more aggressively, but sometimes aggression isn't the way forward. And coming into sector 2, around this right hand, we see Tom Parker ahead of us locking up. And here we go, heading into sector 2 now, entering another heavy braking zone around another corner which you have to modulate your speed, and then it's a relatively nice downhill bend here into another corner. Now this is actually one of the more difficult corners, I'd say, in the championship, because there's a real temptation to take that faster than you think you can take it, and at the same time, if you take it too slow, then you might lose a bit of speed, might lose a bit of traction, and Matt Richards really having to bring that car out to the edges of the track of that difficult right-hander. Heading into sector 3 now. He brakes nicely. The left-hander, he loses it a bit, but picks up the throttle nicely. He cuts that curve nicely, heading around this right-hander now. And my eyes might be mistaken me, but I would say we are slightly catching on Tom Parker, if anything. He takes this right-hander pretty sweetly, actually. Doesn't trouble the curve too much, and then into the left-right-hander and losing a little bit on the exit here. Let's see what Matt Richards can do then on his first Midnight Motorsport qualifying lap. Sven de Vries has gone into P3 on a 1:45.7, I've noticed, and Matt Richards goes P8 on a 1:46.484. That puts him into P8 and only 100th of his teammate Tom Parker, so the two barely separated there in their first qualifying session. And oh, who's that? That's Tommy Oyala going into 8th for Woods Racing. So the Midnight Motorsport cars already under threat of being kicked out of the top 10. We have Jordan Weeks now for Torrent Motorsports going into P3 on a 1:45.6. So it's currently Heasterbeek, McGregor, Weeks, De Vries and Bracalo, a triple 20. As I say though, there's still a mighty 4/10 gap between 4th and 5th. So, and indeed that, that gap is instantly sliced open by Harley Hamnet, who's coming in for one round. And that's Jesper Tolborg, who's come into pole position. He had 9 kilograms of weight heading into this event, and he's still taking pole position. So a great effort from the Smile driver, who'll be looking to extend his team's position up at the front. They currently lead by, quick math James, 13 points from Torrent Motorsports, who are of course 2012 champions. So excellent effort there from Tolborg. So Weeks was the guy coming into this event with the most penalty weight. Chris Butcher, of course, not taking part of championship either. Weeks had 36 kilograms of penalty, and he's still in P. Of course, wrong way around, sorry. So Weeks had penalties from last time out, so he actually had 27, and that means that David Yunt has got 36 kilograms. And where is Mr. Yunt? I don't think he's actually set a lap, has he? Right, here we go. And if he's not just left the pits, actually. Also, shout out to cameraman Dave Carl Smith here for me once again. Yunt's actually on his hot lap. Actually, no, he's not. He is just left the pits. Apologies. Yeah. So maybe we should actually keep an eye on what Yunt does, because if there's going to be any indicator of how much this weight penalty can affect you, it'll be now. And remember, you can't change that much about the setup. And so you've really got your hands tied. Whereas in the ITC, for example, you still have the weight penalties, but you can change your setup to sort of compensate for them. Maybe add a bit more turn in, maybe add a bit less understeer on there. In these cars, really not much you can do, actually. And so we'll keep on board with the Switz on this out lap and then on his flying lap as well. So your top 10 at the moment. Tolborg, Heasterbeek, McGregor, Weeks, De Vries, Hamnet, Walker. He's gone to P7 for Waters, Bracalo, Lopez and Sinky Vicious. So indeed, both Torrent Motorsport cars are not just outside the top 10. They're P14 and P15. Can you believe it? So horrible, horrible times for them. Who else have we got who is a possible contention for a top 10? So we've got Augustin Canapino, who came P4 after all the penalties were applied. We've got Carl Williams as well. Mike Bell with potential to upset the final lot, and he actually does go P9, so that's a decent lap from Bell. See what Mr. Yunt can do now. Our Switz friend, teammate Jesper Tolborg, part of the championship leading team Small Power, in their very distinctive purple, yellow and black livery. P17 he goes. So he was on his flying lap, wasn't he? And David Jones, well, actually, to be fair, that wasn't too far away from where he qualified last time out in Bahrain without any penalty weight. So I would say that's actually a really decent effort from Yunt to place it in roughly the same place where he had it before. Now I think it's worth looking at Canapino. The Argentine, 4th in race 1, retirement in race 2, was actually fastest in free practice, and could be looking to secure Enterprise GP's first ever pole position. I can tell you why I'd be happy with that. We'll keep that story for another day. And he's entering he's in the final sector now, actually, isn't he? Coming into this final little Mickey Mouse section, as Philip Cullen, who commentated with me for a couple of races on the Super Cup last year, likes to call it. And round the final corner comes the Argentine, a real-life touring car driver is Augustin. Where can he put this Porsche GT3 car? P2. It's not enough to usurp Jesper Tolborg, who is looking to take pole position. William Tringus DQ'd himself. And interestingly enough, both Motorsport Safety Foundation cars who didn't qualify last time in Bahrain opting not to qualify again, interestingly. So that means that Jesper Torborg, despite the 9 kilograms of penalty weight, takes pole position from Augustin Canapino for Enterprise GP, Ruud Heasterbeek for Ados Engineering, Ross McGregor for Ice Cold, and Jordan Weeks for Torrent Motorsports. So that should lead to a very, very interesting lineup. So the guy with the most penalty weight, Davy Junt, is in P18. Second most Weeks is in P5. Third most, who's Tom Parker. So that actually should say how that's possibly an explanation why it's so close to Richards. They're down in P16, and Torborg with 9 kilograms of weight, pole position, and potentially showing us that just because you got a bit of penalty weight doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be slow with it. And I can actually definitely vouch for that, because I remember having penalty weight for the first time in the International Touring Cup last year. I had 9 kilograms. And if anything, it made my car feel a bit better, which sort of defies belief. That's the whole opposite of what penalty weight's supposed to do. But sometimes these things just happen. And the Danish driver will be very happy with that. Jesper Torborg, a very, very established veteran in tin tops. And I'm just checking. No, he didn't get pole position. It was Ruud Heasterbeek who got pole position last time. So not his second pole of the year. Nevertheless, I'm sure that Jesper will be very happy with that. So we've got a 5-minute warm-up session to talk about a couple of things, to take you through the standings, perhaps, and also in terms of penalties. So we only have one grid penalty to tell you about today, and that's Pedro Gomez, who has a 10-place grid penalty. And who does he drive for again? He drives for Racing Team Schroeder, not exactly one of our major contenders for any points as such, and the 10-place grid penalty certainly won't help him. So let's go through the full standings as they are. So in the Drivers' Championship, we have Chris Butcher on 35 points, not here today, almost certain to lose that lead. Jordan Weeks, David Junt is in second, and he has 34 points. Then we have Jordan Weeks on 28 points. Then you've got Tom Parker on 27, Jesper Torborg on 22, Ruud Heasterbeek on 20, Cameron Brewster, after his amazing debut for Cosmo Motorsports, on 16. Ryan Walker on the same amount of points, but below him due to positions. Petter Karsa, who was quite disappointing actually last time in Bahrain, and not here today. He's sharing the car with Martin Palm, and Palm was nowhere to be seen as far as I could see. So the Swede not exactly enjoying a good start to his tin top campaign either. Nevertheless, Karsa, who's sure to lose that position, is in P9 on 15 points. And then Fran Lopez, who had a pretty successful round last time, kind of threw away a very good result in race 2. He's in 10th on P15, and I would imagine would jump Karsa by the end of today. In the Teams Championship, Smile Power lead on 56 points from Torrent Motorsport, 2012 champions looking to regain their crown on 43. Aurora Motorsport is in third on 35, though I imagine that with Butcher not there, they might lose out a bit here. Ados Engineering are fourth on 28, with Midnight Motorsports, our 2013 champions, P5 on 27. Enterprise GP is 6th on 23 points, with Cosmo Autosport, fantastic effort from them, they're P7 on 18. Waters are P8 with 16 points. Ice Cold are P9 with 15 points. And I've done a bit of a dump because I haven't checked who's actually P10 because I completely miscounted. So I'll quickly go and grab that for you since we have the time. I think it might potentially be... Yeah, so it was Motorsport Safety Foundation on 8 points. And as I said, last time they started from the back of the grid and they were still able to take 8 points. So goodness knows how they're going to do here today. And of course, we have that 15 to 20 reverse grid of race 2 as well. So if they're able to do what they did last time and push themselves up into the top 20, there's a very good potential that they could be starting near the front and could push for fantastic positions again. So 2 minutes to the race. Who would I say is going to be winning? Well, despite the fact that Jesper Torborg got pole, he still has weight, and I reckon that weight is going to be a disadvantage to him. And you've got Canapino, Heasterbeek, McGregor behind him. Oh, pardon me, all three do not have weight penalty. And whether you like it or not, that is simply an advantage. On paper, you would say. We can't tell whether Jesper's just much better at this track than other people, but we'll have to wait and see about that one. Also, interesting point to make. We've had a lot of drivers talking about how fuel guzzling this track is. A lot of fuel required to make the 14 laps that we're asking of the drivers here today. And so we could see times that are well off the quali times here that you see. So what was the fastest one? It was a 1:44.8 was the fastest in open and free practice. We could see potentially 1.5 seconds off that pace on the early laps with the near enough the maximum amount of fuel these cars can hold for this race, of course. But I imagine we'll see that come right down as to compromise it. The tyres of these cars have a lot of wear on them, so even if you're pushing all the way, it's unlikely that you'll be able to lose 50% of your tyre, because these are very much endurance-based cars. They're not exactly meant for these short races, but that's the whole point of the WSS. It's not necessarily about tyre saving or fuel saving as such. It's all about pushing until the end. These are very much sprint races by definition. So 30 seconds to go. Just a few regular warnings about being careful. Must be said, the start of race 1 last time out was appalling, and then the rest of the race was pretty good. Start of race 2 in Bahrain was pretty good, and then driving standards apart from that were pretty reckless. Let's hope we can get a clean race on both sides of the fence, shall we? So the cars will just be lining up to the grid now. And I always find it interesting how late some of these guys leave it, actually. Some people choosing to take to the grid in the last 5 seconds, perhaps choosing different fuel amounts, maybe thinking about tweaking a few things, because there are a few things you can tweak, such as brake balance and a bit of front wing if it's available. But everyone has made it to the grid, and we head off with Jesper Torborg for Smile Power Racing on pole position. His first of the year from Agustin Canapino for Enterprise GP, his nearest rival without weight penalty. Ruud Heesterbeek, also without weight penalty, is P3 with Ross McGregor, our one-round man, in P4 for Ice Cold Racing. Then we have Jordan Weeks with 27 kilograms of weight penalty in P5 for Torrent Motorsports, with Sven de Vries, who blew his engine up in race 1, unfortunately, of Bahrain, looking to make amends in P6 for Adonis. Harley Hamnet, also in for one round, I believe, is P7 for Triple 20, with Ryan Walker, P8 for Waters Automotive. Ian Bracalo makes it 2 Triple 20s in the top 10, which is a big improvement from last time out. He's there in P9, and then Mike Bell for Mesuric Racing. Good effort from the Englishman to make it into the top 10. Fran Lopez is P11 for Ice Cold Racing, with Benedictus Sinkevicius, a good effort from him to put it P12 for Waters Automotive. Tommy Oyala, who I believe is filling in for one round also, is at Woods Racing in for Ben Warren. And Martin Palm is P14. We then have Menno Klont with a Lusitania Best, I think, at P15. Then we have the two midnights of Tom Parker, who is suffering with 18 kilograms of weight penalty, ahead of his new teammate Matt Richards in P17. David Johns, who's lugging around with 36 kilograms of penalty weight, is P18, with Lewis McGlade filling in for Chris Butcher in P19. And Cameron Brewster, who had that amazing round in Bahrain, starts in P20, though if luck swings his way again, he could find himself in the points. Matthew Allington, a bit of a disappointing qualifying for him, starts P21, with Gary Lennon, P22 for Aurora. We then have Victor Silva, P23 for the Lusitania, with Paul Watkins. A shame TWR quite far down the order this year. Yeah, he's there in P24. We then have the two drag racing cars side by side again. Dowie Tapper filling in for Ascari Cantonen, and he's followed by Ben Horrell, the Welshman. And it's an inter-team battle, this TWR v Drake Racing, as Paul Joseph comes in behind those Drake Racings. We then have a TTF couple with Quinton Plain ahead of Tyron Fitz 28th and 29th, and then we have Rian van der Westhuizen for Deltec Racing P30. Rob Mason is P31 for Cosmo Motorsport, the two Motorsport Foundation cars of Carl Williams and Simon Melhish, P32 and 33. William Tringus is P34 for Racing Team Schroten, as is Pedro Gomez, who took a 10th-place grid penalty. He's P35. And Marius Van Wyck rounds out the field, P36 for Deltec Racing, which means that we're missing both the SGP cars and some other people, which isn't good because we've said 3 rounds of non-attendance and you are out. And I remember SGP didn't have a very good round last time at all, so perhaps they could be one of the early casualties this season. Everyone's lining up now, and we wait for those lights. Taking a while for the guys in the back to quickly get into their grid boxes, it must be said. Awfully long time. Someone's out of position, methinks. Ah, and here we go. We've got 5. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights here at the Circuit de Catalunya. We're off and away. And it's a decent start from Torborg. A great start from Torborg. And it's a decent start from everyone else falling in behind. In fact, I don't really think there's much of a... Oh, Jordan Weeks pushing Sven de Vries onto the runoff area already. That's a bit dangerous. And pummeling down into turn 1 here. Jesper Torborg keeps the lead from Augusta Canavino, Ross McGregor, Jordan Weeks, Harley Hamlin, Ryan Walker, Mike Bell's jumped up into 9th, and Fran Lopez down into P10 as we round the massive turn 3 here. Relatively clean start from everyone. That is what we like to see. And heading into turn 4 now, Jesper Torborg already under pressure from Augustin Canapino and Ruud Heesby. Jesper got a great start off the line, really good considering the extra weight. However, he hasn't escaped Canapino and Heesby just yet. He goes a little bit deep into turn 5 there. And then down turn 6 into turn 7 now. Locking up heavily is the Dane into that section. And Canapino and Ruud Heesby close to line. You can already see all the people straddling away and just how fast these front runners really are. Oh, Torborg going very, very wide there. His head as we head into sector 3 now. Canapino looks out. Nothing doing though. Heading into the tight hairpin. Will we have a few casualties? Nope. Everyone is actually taking this first lap really nicely. Really impressed by everything so far. And really, it's this lead trio of Torborg, Canapino and Heesby that are starting to stream off into distance. Mike Bell lost a few positions to Matt Richards, who's already made his up to P10. Great start from the Welshman. And Ilya Bacalo as well as Torborg goes a bit wide, heading into the final corner. And actually, he's gained a bit of time on Canapino and Heesby in that final sector. So, at the end of lap 1, it's Torborg leading from Canapino, Heesby, McGregor, De Vries, Hamnet, Walker and Weeks. And Lopez and Matt Richards. Lopez having a look on the inside of Jordan Weeks into turn 1 now. Can the young Spaniard take the establishing? Oh, there's contact between the two. And Jordan Weeks is forced to go wide. Lopez tries to take the position and he does keep the position. And I don't think Weeks will be very happy with that. Not exactly one of the cleanest drivers this Weeks. And flashing his headlights in fury at Fran Lopez, who actually lets Weeks back through. So young Spaniard knowing he did wrong and letting Weeks take the position back, which is fair enough. Good driving. Really impressed, guys. Good job. Further down the field, we've got Bracalo P11, Bell P12, Palm P13, Oyala P14, and Sinky Vicious P15, and Cameron Brewster. I said if he had a good start, he'd be near that point. P16 is the Englishman already, so definitely in a good starting position for himself is the Englishman. Going back up to the front though, Augustin Canapino. He's caught up bucket loads on the day in this lap and he's going to dive through for P1, and oh, that is far, far, far too deep for the Argentine. Heesby goes through, and is he going to lose position to McGregor? No, he doesn't, but that was way, way, way too late on the brakes for Augustin Canapino. He's shuffled down to P3. Tom Parker out of the race already, and the Englishman who was P4 in the championship sure to lose a couple of positions this race at least. Behind Canapino, McGregor is keeping Sven de Vries, who's actually made it past lap 1 this time. He's keeping him nicely at bay actually as the Scotsman. And then it's all a bit spread out. We've got Hamnet, Walker, Weeks and Lopez in their own territory. And actually look at Lopez now. Lopez really under pressure from Matt Richards, who's made a great start from P16, or 17 or 18, sorry. And the Welshman, this should be an easy position for him. Heading into turn 1, indeed it is. And Matt Richards gets that midnight car up into P9. And even though his qualifying pace wasn't there, he's certainly impressing in the race. And we'll see whether Fran Lopez can respond into turn 4. I very much doubt it. There's not much ability. And oh, Matt Richards locks up. Can Fran Lopez find the inside line there ever so close as we head through into turn 5. But this time Matt Richards has the inside line. And well defended from the Welshman. Keeping it slow on the apex. He forces Fran Lopez to be a bit hesitant on the throttle. And these two young drivers, the sim racers of tomorrow, the front runners of tomorrow I should say rather, in sim racing, doing very well to both find themselves in the top 10. Indeed, Lopez in the top 10 in the championship at the moment. Let's not forget, on 15 points. And if he maintains the position, he overtakes Carter. Simple as. On the outside now goes Lopez. Matt Richards knocks up. Oh, Riccardo almost back ending the two of them. And Matt Richards still able to hold on. Doing very, very well is the Welshman. But you can see Lopez really desires this position. He's staying with him all the way. And if anything, these guys are actually closing up to Ryan Walker and Jordan Weeks. But now onto the back of Lopez comes Ilya Bracalo and Martin Baum, once teammates at Toro Motorsports. Now Bracalo and his own outfit, Triple 20. The two of them know how to work together to catch up to others in the field, and no doubt they'll be putting their vast amount of experience into effective. Heading into turn 1. Oh, is that Palm having a go on Bracalo potentially? No, he decides to have another go another day. But these guys all closing up from P7 down to P12. On lap 4 of 14 here, back up at the front, however. As I say, these top 3 really, really starting to stream away. Jesper Torborg still leads by 4/10 from Ruud Heasterbeek. However, Agustin Canapino has definitely caught up again. He's only 5/10 off Heasterbeek and a definitive 2.5 away from next man Ross McGregor in P4, who's really just been able to keep a nice gap to Sven de Vries. Sven not really making much effort to overtake him and hardly had it there in P6, all on his own for Triple 20. And the Australian doing very well here on his debut, and I think it's only a one-rounder as well, not really looking to partake in most of the season. But I tell you what, look at Jordan Weeks back there as well. Loads of people in. Zach Martin Palm trying to go for P11. He's on the inside of Ilya Bracalo, and Bracalo tries to defend around the outside, and he does defend around the outside. So good defending from Bracalo there. Yeah, really not much that Palm can do here. These guys starting to enter battle rather than work together, and honestly, the WSS season this year has just looked close for them. Both rounds at all. Martin Palm straddling the curb, and he could lose potentially a position to Mike Bell, who's fallen outside of the top 10 now and is in P13 in Zurich Racing. But yeah, very, very close fields is the WSS field of 2014, and the close battles and groups that we're seeing is a real testament to it. But lap 5 of 14 here. 2 more to go before the halfway point, and I think it's worth looking. Where is it worth looking? Let's just go back up to the front, shall we? Jesper Torborg, Ruud Heasterbeek, and Agustin Canapino, all separated by 7/10 of a second. And we are just wondering, we know Jesper only has 9 kilograms of penalty weight, but when does that start to affect him? Is it affecting him now? I certainly think it is, because both Heasterbeek and Canapino, over the last lap or so, have gained a 10th on Torborg. And you can see there, Heasterbeek has gone pretty wide there, definitely took turns 7 and 8. Much worse than Canapino, and Canapino has to, if anything, slow down here for turn 9. But Heasterbeek starting to lose a bit of time. Through a mistake, and oh, who's that going wide? That is Ross McGregor going wide. And let's see, can Sven de Vries pull a move on the Scotsman into turn 10 here? He looks to the outside, Sven, and he goes a little bit wide onto the curbing there. McGregor defends nicely enough. And that position still there for McGregor. Back up at the front, we really need to keep an eye on this battle. I mean, Canapino, if he gets a good exit... Oh! Ruud Heasterbeek gets a terrible, terrible entry into the chicane. And Canapino's going to be right. He's almost pushing Heasterbeek round the final corner. And Canapino if he's able to stick in this slipstream, should be able to re-inherit P2 by the end of the straight. Here comes Canapino. Easterby goes defensive. Canapino will have to try around the outside of Easterby. Gonna have to brake a little bit late as well. Into turn 1. Canapino, oh, around the outside! And Canapino, oh, almost did it, but there was just not enough speed. Scrubbed off, and talking about speed scrubbing off, McGregor has lost out to Sven de Vries. So the American is past the Scotsman, but McGregor certainly not giving up this fight just yet. And watch out for Harley Hamnet in the background there. These two fighting will ensure that Hamnet is drawn into this battle, and the triple 20 driver could yet find himself in a battle for a top 5. And remember, the top 5 from this race, pardon me, will actually still receive penalty weight for next round. And so, yes, it's going to be more points, but it also could be viewed as a curse. And given that the points difference from P6 to P5 is only 1 point, some may see the extra weight as a bit of luggage. Oh, Ross McGregor just took turn 9 awfully there. It's the same place once again, and Harley Hamnet now is going to look to try and replicate the same move that Sven de Vries pulled on him last lap. Harley Hamnet looks to the inside. He is on the inside of Ross McGregor going into turn 10. And Harley Hamnet's ahead. He's going to have to try and take him around turn 11. Oh, lovely move by Harley Hamnet. And the Australian moves up into P5. Ross McGregor struggling a bit now. And look at the gap, actually. Jesper Torborg has been able to stretch out. We're heading on to lap 7 now. We'll almost be halfway through this race. And Torborg was leading by about a second at the sector 2 split. It's now 8 tenths. And so, because of Easterby and Canapino squabbling away, the Danish driver has just been able to pull bucket loads. Canapino is going to try the same move he pulled, or was... Oh, watch out, my word. Canapino's going to have to learn, I think. That's not the sort of move you're going to be able to pull off in these Porsches. Try as he might, he's just not going to be able to do it. And this is just going to lose time, hand over fist, to Jesper Torborg in front of him. And indeed, time to the driver behind him, Sven de Vries, who appears... It appears that Ross McGregor's really been a shackle on de Vries and Hamnet, because he's just being left behind for dust, really, at this stage of the race now. Behind him, Jordan Weeks and Ryan Walker are still in battle for P7 and P8. Matt Richards on his own in P9. Fran Lopez into P10. Mike Bell into P12. He's gone past Martin Palmer, and the two make contact into turn 5. But they're close in battle anyway. Tommy Oyala on his debut for Woods Racing could be getting Woods off the board entirely in P2. And Benedictus Sinkevicius is very much on his own in P15, with Matthew Allington P16 from P21, decent enough, and if he's able to hold that position, it secures himself a good starting position for next race. The other ones in that position at the moment are Brewster, Silver, Tapper, and Watkins as well. I'm sure Paul Watkins, the old man himself, would love a pole position for race 2. Back up at the front, Easterby and Canapino have lost another 3 tenths total over the space of this lap, and Sven de Vries is ever so shortly starting to catch up on these two, and the Argentine and the Dutchman have to really just work together here. We're on lap 18 and 14, past halfway now, and if they don't work together, then they simply won't have any chance of winning this race. This time, Canapino has nothing to do into turn 1 and 2 this time. He's not gone for a move, and potentially just not been in the slipstream to be able to do anything, as I see Martin Palmer and Mike Bell having real old dings on into turn 1 as well. I think Martin Palmer was potentially ahead on the straight, and he's lost out again, so Mike Bell back into P12. But Martin Palmer, the Toro Motorsport driver, to say, has not really had the best of starts to this season. He was P3 in the ICC last year, and he got a podium last year in the WSS despite only featuring for 2 rounds. But I'm pretty sure that P13 for the Swede is not exactly what he would have been hoping for. As, oh, he dives into turn 5. That was a late move. And the Swede's dive bomb actually pays off for him. So he's back into P12. Though Mike Bell will be looking to on the inside of turn 7. No, he won't. He'll keep behind for the moment. Now, I'm pretty sure this battle will keep on going for a couple more laps, because they seem to be on pretty even pace, and who knows, Benedictus Sinkevicius and Tommy Oyala behind might be able to capitalise on these two battling so much. Rude Easterbeek and Augustin Canapino just can't let each other go, can they? They're like a terrible romance film that never ever ends. And actually this lap, because they've worked together, they have been able to close up on Jesper Torvald by what seems to be maybe a couple of tenths or so. We'll get a reading at the end of this lap. So Jesper Torvald leads, and the gap is down to 7 tenths and 9 tenths respectively for the Dutchman and the Argentine. Canapino, into the slipstream he goes again, and out of the slipstream he goes again. And oh! Rude Easterbeek goes wide, and oh! Contact between the two. And that was just a bit clumsy by Canapino, I think. Rude Easterbeek keeps on going though. And I think Canapino potentially just knowing that was a bit of his fault, really. But notably is the speed difference between Canapino and Easterbeek. And also what is notable is how much Jesper Torvald is beginning to lock up. And now, here's Canapino on the inside of, or he's on the outside of turn 5 now. He's going to try around the outside of the Dutchman. He tries to get a better launch off of that corner, but he's not able to do anything. Pretty evident to me that Augustin is the fastest out of these three now. And Rude Easterbeek goes wide at turn 6 and 7 again. And whoa, that was a cut by Augustin. Can he get him into turn 10? Oh, he's going to die for it. He's going to die for it. Can he take him? Oh, it's ever so close, and Rude Easterbeek just about holding on. The Argentine is really, really impatient now to get past Easterbeek back into P2. And I think that Easterbeek's tyres, after all this defending, starting to take a bit of a pounding. I say that the wear on these cars isn't that much. However, that's not to say that the wear doesn't affect the car at all. And it's pretty evident to me that Easterbeek is losing. I mean, look how much better and more confidently Canapino took that chicane, bouncing over the top. And here we go, heading onto the back straight now, onto lap 10 of 14. The gap has increased forward once again, the battling showing its scars. And Canapino, despite his better exit, not able to do anything into turn 1 or 2, and he'll have to hold behind Easterbeek once again. Looking further down the field, has there been any change at all? Interestingly, Martin Palm is back ahead of Mike Bell, and what's more interesting is that Martin Palm has been able to pull out almost 2 seconds on the Englishman. So the Swede's skill and experience starting to shine through there, absolutely. Meanwhile, oh, I see a little change there. Cameron Brustow taking Matthew Allington for P16 and 17. The battle for the last of the the first, I should say, of the non-point scoring position. There's some good right ding-dong here. There's Matthew Allington. Oh, almost pit manoeuvring Cameron Brewster into turn 5 there. Lovely seeing these battles being waged as far down as here, and still being as exciting to watch as... Oh, wow, Matthew Allington looking like he's diving at every corner, unfortunately. We'll leave these two to their struggles. Back up the front, Rude Easterbeek still holding on to Canapino. It's a battle that just isn't going to hold up, is it? Interestingly, the battle... well, Sven de Vries behind. I'm not too sure that he's catching up on these two anymore. What I'm more worried about for Sven is that Harley Hamnet behind him is starting to catch up on him. And we could very well see 2 major battles going on. I mean, Ross McGregor, he's been left for dust since those two overtook him. And behind him, Jordan Weeks, who remember, is suffering with 27 kilograms of weight penalty. He's just going around doing his business. Ryan Walker not being able to make much impact at all. Behind, actually, though, this battle has closed up. Look at Matt Richards and Fran Lopez. Matt Richards overtook Fran Lopez a while ago and started to pull off into the distance. Now, it's revenge of the Spaniards. And he's going to try what Augustin Canapino has tried to do on Easterbeek multiple times. A bit of contact there into turn 1 and 2. But Matt Richards able to stay ahead for the moment. The brand new Midnight Motorsport driver. Currently securing 7 points for his team. The only Midnight driver in this field at the moment after Tom Parker retired in the early stages of the race. We should also talk about our other DNFs so far. Brian van der Westhuizen retired before Parker even. And Gary Lennon also retired on lap 9 of 14. So we still have 33 drivers in this race, which is pretty impressive considering how destructive these races can be. Talking of destructive, let's see whether this battle between Richards and Lopez can get any more destructive. Heading into turn 10, both of them traverse it nicely. And Lopez will have a bit of a mini slipstream. And he's going to dive through, actually. Is he going to try for this left-hand hairpin? He goes a little bit deep, though. Matt Richards, lovely, lovely cutback. And he's going to maintain P9 for the moment on lap 11 and 14 here. Decent driving from all this race, actually. He's been really nice and clean. Driving standards have been a lot better in comparison to Bahrain. That's good to see in all. Devil's the word, isn't it? We say that, and then Fran Lopez instantly back-ends Matt Richards. And onto the back straight, though. Look at Matt Richards, sorry, how defensive he's gone. And interestingly, lights have been flashed, so I imagine that would be Matt Richards saying, that was a bit rude of you to back-end me, leave off. And Fran Lopez, he doesn't seem to care, does he? He's going to go on the inside here of turn 1. Oh, and there was a little bit of wheel banging, but Fran Lopez is through. Though cuts turn 2 entirely. And one would imagine that Matt Richards on the inside of turn 3 is... Oh, look, there's still flashing lights. This is... Oh, dearie me. Keep your handbags in your cars, gentlemen. It's not prom night, and you're certainly not fighting any girls here. Or fighting over any girls, I should say. I should say that GPVWC does not support abusing women. Love your women, because they are lovely, lovely creatures. We digress anyway. Was that a bit of a change I saw? Yeah, that was P2, wasn't it? So Rude Heasterbeek and Canapino. Presumably Canapino made a move, I would imagine. But it didn't really work out for him. What's crucial, though, at this stage of the race is look how close these two have now been able to close in to Jesper Tolborg. We say that 9 kilograms may or may not have had any impact. We're on lap 12 or 14 here. Not that long to go. We're going to be on to the penultimate lap at the end of this lap. However, look how close these two have gotten to Tolborg once again. And look how wide Tolborg keeps going. I'm wondering whether he's exceeding track limits one too many times here, is the Dane. RF, that's what we have RF scan for, I guess. Interesting enough, Tolborg able to extend his... I think it's that last sector that Tolborg's just able to boss in comparison to these guys, maybe gaining 1/10 or so, which is able to keep him ahead on the straight. Nevertheless, into turns 1 and 2 here. What has happened to Debris? Very good point, Mr. Cameraman. And it must have been to turn 1. Oh, what? That's... Yeah, he just spun it. If you ask me, Mr. Cameraman, that's a double downshift, potentially. A triple downshift, maybe? I don't know. Either way... Oh, and he spun again! And Sven de Vries has pulled over. We're not quite sure what has happened to the American. Is that a puncture? This is baffling. Absolutely. Did he hit some piece? What has happened to that car? That looks like a puncture to me. Is it potentially... This is just crazy. So, is it potentially the fact that he's hit some debris or something? Because, I mean, that car, that's a puncture. Oh, is he? Yeah, he's completely lost a tyre and almost hits Lewis McGlade there. We'll have to see after the race. That is just baffling. We'll talk about... That'll be something to talk about in our mid-break. Sorry? It's the front. Yeah, back to the... Yeah, back to the front. Yeah, top 3, yeah. We'll talk about that later. At the front, notably closer as we're heading on to the final lap here. Tolborg only has one more lap to go to take his first win of the campaign. The gap between himself and Heasterbeek, though, is only 0.2 of a second. Gaston Canapino in close pursuit as well. Heading into turn 1, these two, you couldn't separate them with an... Well, you could separate them with a blanket, let's be honest. But the fact of the matter is I think Mr. Tolborg is starting to struggle here. He'll be wanting to say, look at me, I can win races as well. Interestingly, it was his teammate David Judd. Oh, Canapino! Oh, wow, he came from miles back, but he dives through to take P2. And I wonder whether that will make any... Well, surely that will damage his chances of taking the win. Unless Canapino, who's been saving his tyres here for this final last lap plunge. He's taken P2, and Root Easterbeek is right on the back of him. He'll be furious that he let Canapino take that, but let's see what the Argentine can do. Can he steal this race? Can he do what he did in the ITC 2 days ago, where he overtook both THRs in race 1 to take the win on the final lap? Heading into this left-hander now. Oh, wow, he's really aggressive on that curb, isn't he? Goes slightly wide. He has not got many corners to do this now. And if you ask me, I think Torvald should have this safely in the bag, unless Canapino can pull out a huge advantage in these last few corners. Is he going to die for it? Oh, he's going to try. Oh, contact! Contact between the two. Oh, Torvald, he's got a puncture. He's got a puncture. Unbelievable stuff. And Canapino, that's got to be a penalty. That's got to be a penalty. Canapino takes the win, but that's got to be a penalty for sure, because that was a back ending, and that completely destroyed Torvald's race. He still comes home P3, does the Dane. But I mean, let's see. Let's go back and watch that. Was that? I'm not too sure on whether. Let's have a look here. That's really difficult. I would have said that's a penalty straight off, but Torvald was suspiciously slow on that left-hander, as you would expect him to be to try and defend the position. Either way, that'll be a job for the stewards. Meanwhile, Harley Hamden, great start to the job for him. P4 with Jordan Weeks, P5. Remember, those 5 will have weight penalties for next race. Ross McGregor actually fell to P6, so Jordan Weeks overtook Ross McGregor in the final stages. Ryan Walker, P7. Ilya Picalo, P8. Matt Richards, P9. Martin Palmer up into P10. So Fran Lopez down to P12, actually. He lost out to Mike Bell. Benedictus Sinkevicius, P13. Tommy Oyala, P14. And Cameron Brewster, P15. The last of the point scorers. Another good job for him for Cosmo Autosport. And the potential candidates for the reverse grid are Matthew Allington, Canapino's teammate, Victor Silva for Lusitania, Dawei Tapper for Drag Racing, Paul Watkins for TWR, and David Yunt for Smile Power, who won race 2 last time out. If he gets P20, he won't have any weight penalty at all this time around. And that could prove to be a lifesaver for him. I'm actually interested, Dave, I mean, I'm just interested to know what your opinion on that incident was. Was that 50-50 or was that definitely a Canapino? Right. Yeah, okay, so expert opinion from Dave Carr Smith, contact from Canapino. But yeah, and let's see, Sven de Vries, seriously, was that server lag or Rob lagging? Came driving against traffic. I can't understand what happened to Sven at all. Yeah, but he just spun on the straight. It wasn't even like... Yeah, that's just baffling how that happened. Really, really baffling. It's almost like, I mean, I've suffered problems before where I've double downshifted or triple downshifted, and into corners that makes sense when you spin because you're going in too slow or you're losing too much speed too fast. But on a straight, I mean, that is really, really baffling. Either way, he had to retire from that race along with Rob Mason and Paul Joseph, and earlier Gary Lennon, Tom Parker, and Rian van der Westhuizen. So that's one of the most bizarre incidents I've seen in sim racing, and the only things I could think of which could cause that would be A, server lag, meaning that he accidentally hit someone through lag alone, or he hit some bit of debris on the start-finish straight, which caused a puncture, which it evidently did, because he did have a puncture by the time he was entering turn 5. It was a slow puncture. Either way, I mean, that's just when you think a race is going to go all nice and cleanly and not have many worries, it all kicks off in the last lap. Absolutely maddening. Maddening. Right then, so it's time to find out what our reverse grid number is. Remember, we've got P15 to P20, a reminder of your candidates. So we've got Matthew Allington, Victor Silva, Dawe Tapper, Paul Watkins, and race winner David Yunt from race 2 in Bahrain. And your reverse grid... Oh, no, it's P... Yeah, it's P15, isn't it? So your reverse... Oh, no, so that means Cameron Brewster's also in there, isn't he? Apologies. Brewster. There we go. Right, so... 15 to 20. Who have we got on pole position? Number 18. 15, 16, 17, 18. So that means that Dawe Tapper, who I've had... he's just had the most awfully unlucky campaigns in Super Cup so far. He's got a chance to make everything better here, stepping in for Ascari Kantonen. He has a chance to win the race here for Drake Racing, if he's up to the pace, of course. And so your front four are going to be Tapper and Silva on the front row, and Allington and Brewster on the second row. So what a race that was. Crazy, crazy stuff. Canapino winning, but how... If that's going to stand, I don't know. To be fair, it's not like he's going to get a penalty if he's not reported. Maybe he sorted something out with Torborg. Maybe Torborg was partly to blame by going so slow. I'm not one to judge, and even though I help judge these things with all the penalties and everything, I'm not going to be able to judge that myself, because that's my own team, so I'm going to have a bias towards it, undoubtedly. So, crazy, crazy stuff going on. Plenty of questions to be asked, and plenty of answers wanted. If you've got a question that you want to ask by the end of this round, after the second race, then please feel free to tweet me at KirkyLife, or tweet at GPWC, hashtag GPVWC, hashtag WSS, hashtag GPVWC, WSS, if you like your hashtags, if you're interested in asking a question, either to me or our drivers. And no doubt, as long as it's a serious question, you know, making sure it's serious, and make sure it's not rude as well, then I'm sure we'll feature it on the broadcast. Right, so looking at our front four, I wouldn't have said that any of them would be able to win a race. However, Brewster did extremely well last time out in Bahrain, so who knows? It only takes a bit of luck to win a race or to get a good points result, and that's exactly the point of these reverse grids. Just going to do a bit of typing, talking with people in the chat and everything. It's really interesting to see driver reaction straight after the events have happened as well. I know certainly from myself that some of my reactions in racing straight after the event have been pretty bad, it must be said. A lot of shouting, a lot of anger. Some other people just take it on the chin, though, say like, oh, well, that happened, and just get on with racing. And ultimately, I think that's the better way to go about it, because then you're not too worried about things. I tell you, red mist is one of the worst things to come over you as a racing driver, and I wouldn't be surprised if Torborg actually has a bit of red mist as well. Though that said, he's one of the cooler drivers in the field. Cooler than a cucumber. And so I imagine that he'll be able to do his utmost best. Of course, he's going to have weight penalty for next race. So just a reminder, Canapino will have 45 kilograms. Heasterbeek 36, Torborg 27, Hamnet 18, and Weeks will have 9 kilograms. So all the weight penalties for Jordan Weeks. He's probably going to try and get all of them by the end of the season, I imagine. So we've only got 2 more minutes or so to go until the end of warm-up. And as I say, I'm not really sure. I'm trying to think. So it's a shame Sven de Vries isn't in there, actually, because if he hadn't fallen so far down the field, I would have put him in short contention. But yeah, he's DNF'd, so we'll see whether Sven de Vries can do one of his classics, fight through the field sort of things. I've seen him come from about the same position and still earn points. So Fran Lopez. I won't race if this happens again. I think that's about... I'm not sure whether that's about contact with Richards or whether it's about graphics. I tell you what, graphical issues have been the order of the day. definitely been the order of the day in all series, in fact, just talking about how high we want them, how low we want them, graphical problems. I tell you what, the night race in the ITC 2 days ago, that caused a commotion. I personally thoroughly enjoyed it until they got spun out, but a lot of people saying there were a lot of frame drops, server lag, so on, so on, so on. Yeah, so I'm talking with Augustin here, saying he broke his rear, obviously. Well, we'll see how that one filters out and whether the two can't come to an agreement. Yeah, I fear that Augustin may get a penalty for that. And usually, the way that penalties are dished out here is, if someone DNFs, then a grid penalty is usually given, or indeed if a time penalty, which is the usual punishment, wouldn't make much sense, then we give them a grid penalty. We also give warnings and so on and so on. Time penalties are usually the most common penalty here, and I imagine that would warrant a 20-second penalty, because that is your bog standard. I'm just going to have a little look, see whether our live races timing is up, see whether we don't have the exact... Oh, we do. Lovely. So with a 20-second grid penalty, Augustin Canapino would fall from P1 to P10. That's a lot of points dropped. 19 points. Still points, though. Which I guess at the end of the day is what you want as a driver. So, race 2 we are on to. And hopefully we won't have so much controversy. Hopefully we'll be able to get away with a race which is a clean start. Fantastic racing. No flashing of lights. No handbags. Just good old stuff. Like GPVWC presents on the majority of occasions. Right, so let's have a look at this grid here. Oh, Matthew Allington's left the game. Oh dear. That's P3. And I wonder if he's going to be able to get back in time. If not, that is a real shame for Allington, because P3 is going to be one of the best positions he'll start from this year, I'm sure of it. No, he's not going to make the grid. What a shame. So Matthew Allington out already. And that was just a simple disconnection, a real shame for the Englishman there. Nevertheless, Dawe Tapper then leads us round on the formation lap. He's had terrible luck in SC. I wonder if he can make a better name for himself here in the WSS this year. Victor Silva then is P2 and Cameron Brewster will inherit P3 for Cosmo Autosport. Can he pull out a fantastic performance like last time? Tommy Oyala, P4 with Benedictus Sinkevicius, P5 for Waters Automotive. Fran Lopez, P6 for Ice Cold. I would say he could potentially win this race along with Cameron Brewster. They certainly have the pace to do it. Mike Bell, P7 for Miseric Racing with Martin Palm, P8 for Torrent Motorsports. He's got the experience to win this as well. Matt Richards, P9 for Midnight Motorsport with Edie Bacalo, P10 for Triple 20. Ryan Walker, P11 for Waters Automotive with Ross McGregor, P12 for Ice Cold Racing. Jordan Weeks, P13 for Torrent Motorsports. He's got 9 kilograms of penalty weight. Harley Hamlin, P14 for Triple 20. He has 18 kilograms of penalty weight. Jesper Torborg, after being cruelly denied the win last race, he is P15 with 27 kilograms of penalty weight. Ruud Heesterbeek, P16. He has 36 kilograms of penalty weight. And Augustin Canapino, race winner, potential to be demoted. Though as Harley Hamlin goes off the track there, goodness me. He has a lot of potential to be demoted, though, has Canapino. He has 45 kilograms of weight for sure. That will hinder his progress through the field. Paul Watkins, starting from the pit lane. Oh, so the old man, what a shame. He'll start near the rear of the field, so that means David Yuntz will start P18 for Smile Power. Lewis McGlade, P19 for Aurora, and Pedro Gomez will round out the top 20 for Racing Team Stroton. Ben Horrell will be P21 for Drake, with Menno Klontz P22 for Lusitania. Tyrone Frith will be P24 for TTF, and William Tringus will be P25 for Racing Team Stroton. Sorry, P24 for Racing Team Stroton. Quinton Plain will be P25 for TTF. Marius Van Wyck will be P26 for Deltec. Paul Joseph will be P27 for TWR. Sven de Vries, how far up the field can he go? In P28 for Adonis Engineering. Rob Basin will be P29 for Cosmo, and Gary Lennon will round out the top 30 for Aurora. Then we have Rian van der Westhuizen, P31 for Deldak. Interesting, Alex Cooper, he's had to be pulled in here at last moment's notice for Tom Parker in P32 for Midnight. And then the two motorsport cars start P33 and P34. And interestingly, Pavel Loknovsky comes in for Woods Racing P36. Hello, Pavel. Nice to see you again. Nice to see you racing. Comes from absolutely nowhere, and someone's pitted there. Is that Hamnet pitting, I wonder? Has Hamnet got a puncture? Who is that into the pits? I think that's Marius van Wyck, potentially. Oh, well. Not much time to debate about that now. Plenty going on. Here come lights. 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. Here for the second time in Spain. We're up and racing. And what a good start from Cameron Brewster. I told you had potential. Through the field, also because Mike Bell, Cameron Brewster leads this race. It was a decent start from Tavern, but Cameron Brewster lightning off the line. Heading into turn 1, here could be problems. The Englishman leads for Cosmo Autosport. I see a bit of wheel banging further in the field. I think that was a lagged car potentially. But Cameron Brewster leads. Dowie Tapper, Mike Bell, what a great start from him. Up to P3, Victor Silva. P4, Benedictus Sinkevicius. Battling with Fran Lopez. P5 and 6, I imagine Fran will have P5 going into this corner. Yes, he does. Fran Lopez up to P5, Benedictus Sinkevicius down into P6. Palm P7, Walker up to P8. Great start from him. Tommy Oyala, P9. Jordan Weeks up to P10. Ross McGregor, P11. Matt Richards down to P12. Ilya Bacalo, P13. Jesper Torwalk, P14. Ruud Heesbeek up to P15, along with David Junt and Augustin Canapino for close company. Meanwhile, back up at the front, Cameron Brewster looking to extend his gap. Isn't going to be getting away that quickly. Dowie Tapper looks a bit better in race trim at the moment in these early stages of the lap. And you can just see them filing through there. Well, Matt Richards almost going sideways there. Cameron Brewster defending, and oh, who's that? That's Victor Silva. Victor Silva has fallen down the order. He's dropping like a stone. Where is he? Downing. Is that? No, that's just a timing error. Don't worry, he's not falling down like a stone. Cameron Brewster, Dowie Tapper, Mike Bell, Fran Lopez. So he's in P5 is Victor Silva already. So Fran Lopez up into P4 and harrying the back of Mike Bell. Very close racing here at the moment. And I see a couple of other people have fallen down the order a bit. Ruud Heesbeek down to P18. Crazy stuff. So at the end of lap 1 is Cameron Brewster doing it all over again for Cosmo Autosport. He leads lap 1. Tapper, Bell, Lopez, Silva, Sinkevicius, Palm, Walker, Weeks, McGregor, Richards, Bracalo, Torvald, Canapino, and Davey jumped into P15. Mike Bell looking on the inside of Dowie Tapper over P2. And the Englishman takes it. And Fran Lopez there, who looked a lot faster through turn 1, looking on the inside of Dowie Tapper now. And Cameron Brewster will be loving this. The battling behind him will give him a chance to stretch his legs, try and find a way into the lead. Mike Bell now defending off Dowie Tapper. Into turn 4 we go. Tapper goes a bit wide though, and that could allow the door open for Fran Lopez. And oh, who's that falling down the order? That was one of the top 10 people. That's Jordan Weeks. Oh, Jordan Weeks. And it seems like... Oh, what has happened to Jordan Weeks? He was with Walker. And then, oh, yeah, we just lost it under his own steam into turn 4. So down the order he goes, and he's out of points contention. Meanwhile, back up at the front. The gap is 1 second between Brewster and Bell. Bell starting to stretch his legs as well. Commiseric Racing. Meanwhile behind, Fran Lopez trying his best to take Dowie Tapper. Into turn 10 we go. And Fran Lopez, that's an easy podium for the young Spaniard. And let's see what he can do now. He's had a Tapper as well. It appears that Tapper and Victor Silva very much the stopgap in these top 20. Benedictus Sinkevicius as well. Look at the train Sinkevicius has got going. He's holding up Palm, his teammate Walker, and indeed Matt Richards, who's there in P9. And oh, Ross McBell! Oh, no! Oh, there's contacts and Palm down the order he goes. And oh, I'm not sure what was to happen there, but blimey, there was just, I think that was potentially Sinkevicius just spinning and Palm going in tandem with him. So what that means is Benedictus Sinkevicius, lifesaver. He's actually been able to stay. I think that might have just been Palm spinning then. Sinkevicius is still there in P6. McGregor's up to P7. Bracalo, P8, and Torborg and Canapino. Ding ding, round 2. Canapino in P10. Matt Richards down to P11. Ryan Walker down to P12. And oh, look, there's Sven de Vries. I told you he'd do a good comeback drive. And he's up into P13. He's looking at points. And he's going to overtake Torborg, who's got gone slightly wide as well. Sven de Vries up into P12. Oh no, contact between, Walker. Walker, he's flown off. And Walker's hit the barriers as well. That's his points challenge over. So that means Root, he's becoming to P15. Tommy Oyala back into the points, astonishingly. David Yunt up into P13. Sven de Vries P12. Now looking on the inside of Matt Richards. What excellent battling here. And he's going up the inside. Oh, who's that in all? That's Sinky Vicious. Sinky Vicious across it. They're all dropping out the top 10. So Sven de Vries up to P11. And David Yunt just behind him. Oh, wow, they're going to try and overtake Matt Richards as well. Let's see what Sven can do. I would look up at the front. The gap is 6/10 between Brewster and Bell. We'll look up there when we need to. Sven de Vries going to look on the inside of turn 10. Nothing doing. Ahead of him as well, Canapino with the full 45 kilograms of weight. Arnie Hamnet out of this race. He was one of our early retirements. But up ahead, Canapino with weight, Torborg with weight, Carlo not with weight. But let's go back up to the top 3 now. Cameron Brewster really starting to lose his lead to Mike Bell and Fran Lopez. Mike Bell, a constant lamenter of how he could have won this race, how he could have won that race. You know what? He could genuinely have a good chance of winning this race. Onto lap 4 of 14 we go. Heading down into turn 1. Bell on the brakes. He's going to have a little look. He's going to have a late stab. And you can just see he actually takes turn 1 much cleaner than Cameron Brewster. You can just see how much time he gained. Also, Fran Lopez right behind. These guys have got about a 3-second gap back to Dawe Tapper. So it's, unless, Fran Lopez on the inside of Bell. Oh, what a lovely move that was from Fran Lopez. Wonderful stuff. Though Bell is going to have a little look back through, I imagine. No, he's not. Excellent work from Fran Lopez. Can he get past Bruce now? And that's Matt Richards and Canapino battling as well. Back down the order. Matt Richards trying to look around the outside turn 5. Canapino just forcing Richards out wide. Really under pressure. And you'd imagine, why wouldn't he be with 45 kilograms on board? Taking turn 7 and 8, he's really misplaced. Cutting across Richards, trying to defend all he can, but he's holding these guys up, sorry. Oh yeah, up at the lead, sorry, Fran Lopez. Trying to look around the outside. He goes a bit wide though. And Mike Bell's going to look at the inside. He can't do anything though. And Fran Lopez is all over Bruce. And look at Mike Bell. He's going to try to go back through on Lopez. Lopez trying to go. Contact is there surely. Wow, how did he keep that out of Brewster's rear end? I do not know. Look, these guys are all over Brewster. He's doing so well to stay ahead of these guys. But the move is going to come sometime or another. Maybe these 3 will all crash and we'll have Dawe Tapper back in the lead. I don't know. On to lap 5 of 14 now. Lopez, what can he do? Can he make a move on Cameron Brewster? No, he can't, amazingly. And I'm really surprised. Is Lopez going to try and do the cutback? No, he's not. And in comes Mike Bell, almost cutting turn. Here goes for Lopez! Lopez, he's gone up the inside of turn 3. What a lovely move that was. Really opportunistic. And Lopez now leads this race for ice cold. Cameron Brewster can't do anything into turn 4. And Mike Bell now wants to get back past. He wants P2. And these 3 are going at it, hammer and tongs it right. This is a great old ding-dong for the lead. And Mike Bell, he just can't do anything. He's starting to lose a bit of pace. And I think those early laps where he could have potentially scared Cameron Brewster off the road are now gone as Lopez locks up heavily into turn 7. Slightly compromised on the exit of turn 8 and up into turn 9. Still, these 3 very close together, though I imagine, unless Lopez makes a mistake, he might just have this one. He might just have this because he's certainly got the pace of the midfield to be able to keep these guys at bay. Nevertheless, Cameron Brewster's hanging on for dear life, isn't he? Not letting go of Fran Lopez at the moment, doing so well. Be an instant injection of points into Cosmo again. Just love these underdogs, don't you? Just complete surprise for the season. Meanwhile, further down the order, you've got Dawe Tapper in P4. Really lost Victor Silva. Victor Silva, my word, this is a train and a half, isn't it? Ross McGregor, Eva Carlo, Jesper Torborg, all behind him. And then you've got another train of Canapino, De Vries, Yunt and Easterbeek. all in close proximity. Martin Palms all in his own on P13. Lewis McGlade scoring points for Aurora in P14. And Tommy Oyala P15. Alex Cooper, amazingly, might be in with a chance of points as well. Sven de Vries goes through on Augustin Canapino. And yeah, Canapino, bit dirty. And oh, that, yeah. And the two Adonises make contact. Torborg, yeah. Let's go back and look at that again. So Canapino just comes round. That said, yeah, I'm not sure there wasn't much Canapino could do about that, to be honest. And I know you might say that's biased and stuff, but Canapino was pretty much to the edge of that track, and De Vries just came across. So potentially De Vries is doing, I'd have to say, on that one. Whereas Canapino was, I would admit, Canapino was at fault potentially for the first incident in race 1. Not much he could really do there, and that's not only caused problems for De Vries, but for his teammate as well. And there's a bad day at the office for Adonis Engineering for sure. Meanwhile, yeah, I'd say this battle up at the front really starting to quieten down a bit, and I wouldn't actually be surprised if the podium was just Lopez, Brewster, Bell, to be honest. What's happened to Tapper? Oh no, it's McGregor. Oh, that's what's happened. So Victor Silva, the bottle cork in P5, has let McGregor and Torborg through, and I imagine that very soon he's going to be letting the likes of Bracalo and Canapino go through as well, because these two are clearly faster than the Lusitania driver. And oh, that was a poor exit for Bracalo, wasn't it? Canapino, very much the man of controversy at the moment. Let's see what he can do heading onto the back straight here. Can he take advantage of Bracalo's bad exit? With 45 kilograms of weight? I think not. I think he's going to need a bit more luck than that to move up the order again. No, and indeed, nothing doing it. And oh, wow! You can see how early Victor Silva breaks his Bracalo. Oh! Canapino almost lost it there. And is that going to be positioned for Martin Palm? I think it is. Yeah, Martin Palm through into P9, Canapino down to P10. Yeah, Victor Silva really, really slow or early on the braking, really not confident in the car as Bracalo. Was that Bracalo trying another move? No, it wasn't. It was just him locking up. And oh, Canapino back through on Palm, actually. So that's to stop the Argentine from keeping his record up, trying to stay in the top 10. Yeah, Palm just doesn't seem to have the pace. Meanwhile, behind, Sven de Vries is going to keep on going with no front bumper. Tommy Oyala up to P12. Alex Cooper is up into the points. He's in P13. Not for long, though. David Junt through on Cooper. Lovely move from the Swits. And actually, Cooper might still be on the inside for P13 here into turn 9. Yeah, Junt has to back out there, and Cooper, good little battle here with Junt for P13 and P14. Leon Lewis McGlade is P15, and that was Bracalo going through on Victor Silva into turn 10, sorry. So Bracalo up into P7, Victor Silva down into P8. Fran Lopez starting to stretch his legs now. The gap at the front is 1.2 seconds, and Cameron Brewster holding on to P2. Mike Bell starting to fall away. And the gap from Bell to Tapper is now pretty much 4 seconds. So as I say, those podium guys are pretty safe, I would say. Dawe Tapper still in a fantastic position, P4. For how long, though, is yet to be determined. Here comes Ross McGregor for the Ice Cold Racing team. Where Adonis Engineering have failed, Ice Cold Racing could really, really capitalise here. Currently P1 and P5. It could very well be P1 and P4 by the end of this race. And McGregor has Torborg for company as well. Torborg who will want to get more points. And McGregor through on Tapper. Just about made it work. So McGregor through into P4. And Torborg's going to try and push his way through on Tapper as well. He has to stay to the outside though. And yeah, not much he could do on Tapper there. Especially given that he's got 27 kilograms of weight on board that Smile Power racing car. Into turn 7 and 8, yeah, you can just see how much better Torborg takes that, but Tapper is on the inside on the exit. He's able to hold station for now. Can Torborg make a move into turn 10 though? We've seen a few moves into here before. And oh, Tapper locks up, and the move was made for Torborg, really. He's through into P5, and Dawe Tapper is down to P6, so he's got a nice little buffer between himself and Bracalo now, and on lap of 18 of 14 here. Sorry, 18 to 14? 8 to 14, sorry. That might prove him well. Victor Silva, meanwhile, the bottled cork of the day, is now under heavy pressure from Augustin Canapino and Martin Palm. And I imagine that both these drivers will be able to get Silva potentially down the next straight, potentially in the next sector even. Let's look now. Canapino on Silva for P8 in this race. Even with the 45 kilograms of weight, Canapino visibly gaining on Silva. He looks to the inside and potentially, yeah, Victor Silva just breaks early. And that is a really nice move from Canapino, much, much cleaner. And Can Palm getting around the outside of turn 2. Oh, lovely stuff from the Swede. That was wonderful to watch. And so both these guys, as I say, through in the next sector. Victor Silva shuffled down to P10. But it is still P10. That is still points. And Sven de Vries is missing a front bumper, remember, in P11. Decided not to pit. And he's still, well, I wouldn't imagine he'd be able to make too much impact on Victor Silva now. Tommy Oyala P12, David Junt P13 ahead of Alex Cooper P14, and Matt Richards, after losing out early in this race actually, is back up into P15 ahead of the plug-in himself, Mr. Lewis McGlade. And so Midnight scoring double points, but not exactly the double points they were hoping for. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's see whether Bell can catch up to Mr. Brewster here. Because I think Bell is starting to catch up on Brewster, actually. Not doing that, though, Mr. Bell. Sand does not make you faster, despite all my attempts to make it so. Good old Picard reference there as well. Wrong captain. Either way, we'll be heading on to lap 10 of 14 here. Mike Bell, if he wants P2 for himself, will not have many more laps to do it. Onto the back straight we go. The gap between the two is 4 tenths, and the gap between Brewster and Lopez is now 2 seconds. I must say, if there has been a driver of this championship so far who has surprised everyone, it must be Cameron Brewster. Just absolutely fantastic, composed driving from the Englishman. His first team, which he's driven for, which hasn't been TSA or Playseat or any of the other affiliations. And it's like a new life has just been sprung out of him. Absolutely fantastic season he's having so far. And being P7 in the championship, and given that he's well, Parker has not scored, Yunt's not really scoring that many points, Butcher non scoring, he's to be carrying a terrible race too. Brewster could very well see himself still in the top 10. I think he would be in the top 10 still by the end of this round, actually. So fantastic stuff from the Englishman. That said, though, Bell is absolutely closing his... Oh, I see, what's happened there? Oh, Dawe Tapper. Oh, what's happened to him? Let's see. Oh, we did a similar thing to Benedictus Sinkevicius, just lost it on the curbing on the entrance to turn 7. The only difference is that he didn't smash it into the wall, and the good news is that he's still in the points. So Tapper can still score points, but that means that Canapino is into P7, though for how long is debatable. Martin Palm, the Swede, right to the back, and oh, we missed Brewster. We missed Brewster losing out to Bell. And where was that? That was into P13. There was a bit of contact between the two, and Bell is through into P2 onto lap 11 to 14? Yeah, 11 to 14 these guys go. I think Bell's pretty secure there for P2. And to be fair, I think Cameron is going to be still in with that podium shout. Ross McGregor coming up to lap the lapped Roost Heast. Or, yeah, to lap Roost Heast to be a terrible day for the Dutchman, really. Even considering that P2 in race 1. Ross McGregor P4. Jesper Torborg P5. Decent day in the office for him, despite the fact that he got robbed of a win in race 1. Eni Bracalo P6. Doesn't matter that Hamlet's out. Triple 20 have had a much better day here than at Bahrain. Canapino holds on to P7, but just about. Martin Palm P8. Victor Silva, because of Tapper's mistake, is now up into P9 with Sven de Vries in P10. With that front bumper mixing, he's really going to be hampering him. And I imagine Dawe Tapper will be through on P10 actually. Let's keep with them now. Just see how much de Vries is struggling. Oh yeah, he's just running out to the exit curve, trying to defend as best he can. But Tapper, it doesn't matter how off the pace he is. Being brutally honest, yeah, he's just faster. He is just that much faster. And I'd imagine we'd see him move in the next couple of corners. So David Junt then in P12. Matt Richards P13. Look at this almighty scrap for the final point position. Tommy Oyala, P14, Lewis McGlade, P15, and they're just holding on to those positions with Jordan Weeks. Someone's going to go 3 wide into turn 10. Oh, contact! Contact between Yunt and Oyala, and Oyala goes flying off, and that is him. I think he's going to call it a day. Yeah, he does. Lewis McGlade, poor driving there. Jordan Weeks down to P14. He's going to be laughing his butt off for that. And oh my, look at the battle! Look at P16, Dave. This is absolutely incredible. So we've got Rob Mason, Menno Clont, Ryan Walker, Ben Horrell, Pedro Gomez, Simon Melhage, Kyle Williams, all in the same space of about 2 seconds or so. Hilarious stuff below the points, and if we have one more time, and these guys are going to be fighting over that final point. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And by the way, Alex Cooper fell down to P26. We don't quite know why. He must have had a problem somewhere. But yeah, that's a real shame for Cooper, as he was looking pretty good, to be honest. Amazingly, though, we've only had 3 retirements from this race. Allington, who didn't even make it to the grid. Hamnet, who DNF'd on lap 3. And Tommy Oyala's our 3rd. Absolutely bonkers race. Especially given all the contact we've seen as well. Let's see. Wow. Sven de Vries, I'm impressed with Sven. He may have made that mistake earlier, which found himself in this position, but he's holding on to P10 pretty well. It must be said, I thought Darry Tapple was going to dispatch him in pretty quickly. But, oh, 2 and 3. 2 and 3. Wow, Cameron Brewster, this is a revival. Mike Bell, oh, wow, that's a cutting your nose off despite yourself scenario, isn't it? And, oh, look at this. Ross McGregor. Oh, he's been able to catch up bucket loads, hasn't he? Ross McGregor, I know he's only here for 1 round, but he could make it a double podium for Ice Cold Racing. And in fact, it's looking more and more like that. He's right on the back of Cameron Brewster, pardon me, who himself was right on the back of Mike Bell. I thought this battle was just going to stretch out and be as it was. Not so. I don't know why Mike Bell is struggling so much, but Cameron Brewster is now looking for a move, and in fact he's going to be through. Oh, contact between the 2 on the back straight. That's not what you want to do. McGregor there in the background as well. And into turn 1 we go. Mike Bell. He's trying, isn't he, to keep that position. Oh, wow. He tries to come back. He's going to try and do a palm, isn't he? And they're still side by side. Heading up into turn 4 now. Ross McGregor has been boxed in. There's not really much the Scotsman could do there. Mike Bell through all the inside, and McGregor locks up, so he falls behind for a bit. And look at Jesper Torwalk here. He's not too far behind either. And I know Mike Bell, I know he can get a little bit dodgy at times. I wonder how much and how far he's going to bend these rules to be able to keep that P2 for himself. It would jump the Zurich right up the table as it stands into turn 7 and 8. Cameron Brewster almost pushing Bell. And oh, that's contact! Absolutely, and that's going to be Bell straight off the podium, I'd imagine. McGregor around the outside. Oh, they're still side by side. And oh, contact again. Mike Bell, keep your handbags in your pockets, mate. Deary me, and McGregor's going to look on the inside now. And oh, my word. And that's going to possibly allow Torwalk through. Oh, Torwalk, the opportunistic man. He's through into P4 and Cameron Brewster. This is a lifeline for him. Off he goes into the distance, and Mike Bell, because he was a bit stupid there, has now allowed Torwalk and McGregor right onto the back of him instead of working towards the greater good. And Torwalk, I know he missed out on the win in race 1, but he could very well be looking at a podium, a 2nd, 3rd in a row here in race 2. Onto the back straight we go. And I wouldn't think that Mike Bell would dare and hurt Torwalk, as Smile Power is pretty much Mike Bell's team. Here comes McGregor though as well. And into turn 1 we go. Torwalk, he's onto the podium once again. What a great drive from the Danish driver. And here comes Ross McGregor as well. Here to try and take 4th away from Mike Bell. It is indeed the final lap of the race. Fran Lopez leads by 8.4 seconds. What a fantastic drive from the young Spaniard. He failed a bit last time in Bahrain, but he could be looking to take Ice Cold's first win of the season here. Cameron Brewster in P2, he's only got to make it to the finish. And, well, this would be Cosmo's first podium. Star of the day, once again, has to go to Cameron Brewster. What a fantastic driver he's turning out to be in this championship. Torwalk despite his weight, starting to pull away from Bell, and Bell is just about holding on to P40 from McGregor. Riccardo, I thought he was in the world of his own in P6, but Canapino and Palm, who are still at it after all these laps, are starting to catch him. There might be some late manoeuvres there. Victor Silva in P9. De Vries in P10. Douwe Tapper still hasn't been able to get past his fellow Dutchman. And David Junt then might still be in with a sniff of P11. Jordan Weeks P13. Lewis McGlade P14. He's gone and past Matt Richards. These two are good friends. Oh, but yeah, let's go to the leader now. Let's go to Fran Lopez, who comes around the final corner. What a brilliant drive it has been for the 14-year-old Spaniard, one of the stars of the future, surely. And he takes the win for Ice Cold Racing. Cameron Brewster. Wow. Just what an unbelievable drive for him. A podium in the WS, a podium for Cosmo Motorsport. Jesper Torborg P3, his second P3 in a row. Mike Bell P4. Russell Gregor P5. Augustin Canapino P6. And Martin Palm P7. So they both must have gotten past Ilya Bricalo at some point, who falls to P8. Victor Silva P9. Great result for Lusitania. The Sven de Vries, despite missing that front bumper, P10. Considering where he started as well. Great result, but it could have been more if it hadn't made that mistake. Douwe Tapper from pole position P11. David Junt P12. Jordan Weeks P13. Matt Richards P14. And Lewis McGlade, the plug-in himself, is P15 for Aurora Motorsports. Your retirements with Harley Hamnet, Matthew Allington, Tommy Oyala, and Menno Klont near the end there as well. And also Rian van der Westhuizen as well. So my, oh my, what a crazy, crazy round that was. Absolutely bonkers. Midnight and Adonis, terrible, terrible days at the office for them lot. Aurora didn't do much better either. TMO, EGP, Cosmo, Ice Cold. I imagine all of them will be moving up the order, but lots of controversy to discuss as well. Canapino in and amongst the thick of it. Was he responsible for that incident in race 1, meaning that Jesper Torborg lost the win to both himself and indeed a second place to Ruud Heesterbeek? The opinion of myself and Dave, possibly so. Yet Torborg, though, could have broke a bit early. That's still to be decided. And again, a Canapino in race 2, contact with De Vries, though we think that was more in the fault of De Vries, not only taking himself out of a fantastic points contention place, but his teammates as well, of all people. Lots to discuss, and hopefully the guys on the podium, including Jesper Torborg, we hope, will be able to divulge the information that we seek. Talking of information seekers, let us see whether we have had any tweets in. We did have a couple of people tweeting last time, including Mike Schroten, who wanted to say that it's Measurik Racing, not Mia Zurich. Ah, here we go. Question from Thomas Jacobs here. How is the tyre wear on the Porsches? Seems De Vries, in question marks, just got a random puncture. So yeah, we discussed that earlier. And we believe there was either a case of random lag on the straight, so he hit a car which wasn't there, or he hit a debris which caused a slow puncture on the rear, because we definitely saw him with a right rear puncture going into turn 5. So, I mean, in terms of tyre wear, normally these cars are the tyres are really durable. As I say, they're made for endurance racing more than anything. Not to say that tyre wear doesn't affect them in the race anyway. But yeah, the whole De Vries incident, we think, was either a case of lag or debris on the track causing a slow puncture. Let's just check the hashtags. Nothing on the... Joe Coffin. 14... Oh, no, that's... Wrong league. Whoops. SEWSS. Okay, right, that is it. So, podium people. Cameron Brewster. So far, in my books, as star driver of the season. I mean, you got a point in race 1, which was great again. I said, despite starts in P20, you always want to consider for points. You got that point, and then a fantastic, fantastic podium drive. You, Mike Bell, Fran Lopez, just seemed to stream away at the start, didn't you? You had a fantastic start going into the lead of that race. another fantastic job for you, and you must be ecstatic with that.
I'm getting pretty good at doing those starts in race 2, aren't I?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, you could say that.
No, I've never raced so hard in my life. Race 1 with Matt Allington. I think I've got some of your stickers left on my car. I have to give them back to you.
Yeah, I'll have to apologise for that.
But no, great scrap with Matt in race 1. Little bit of a nudge here and there. Fair enough. That's racing. Race 2, brilliant start. Again, found myself with a clear track and didn't quite know what to do with it. Fran, I think he was always going to be too quick with me. So I'm glad I didn't try and keep up with him and end up making a mistake. But had a good scrap with Bell. Again, very tense racing. And I'm exhausted from it. But no, I'm absolutely ecstatic to get P2. And I just can't thank Joshua Anderson enough for giving me the chance to drive in this series, because it's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm so pleased that I'm making history for the Cosmo team.
Well, as I was saying, it seems like you driving with Cosmo is almost giving you a new lease of life. You were certainly noticeably much more on the pace with ITC on the Monday than you were last season, fighting for good points back there. Dare we say, are you aiming for a top 10 in the Drivers' Championship? Because it's certainly looking that way at the moment, certainly solidifying your position there.
I think if I can get a little bit closer to the top 10s in race 1 of the evenings, I think a top 10 at the end of the season, I see no reason why I can't do that. I need to focus on my pace a bit more. I mean, I haven't had as much practice as I'd liked for tonight, but something just seems to click in the second race and the reverse grid, and I just seem to be able to hold people off, which is something I can't normally do.
You know what? As a good friend, I certainly hope to see you in that top 10 at the end of the season, because I think that would justify how much work you've put into all your sim racing efforts. And it is lovely to see you on the podium yourself, and a P2, no less, a solid podium. And I'm secretly going to be crossing my fingers for you to get a win by the end of the season as well. You never know. Bit of luck might come your way. No pressure at all. But we'll see. Thank you very much for joining us, Cameron.
Thank you. Cheers.
And unfortunately, it seems like all our other podium sitters have seemed to abandon us today. A bit lonely with myself and Cam and Dave in the booth. But anyway, what an interesting, exciting and controversial set of events we have had before us today. People with potential penalties still to come, great racing, new podium sitters, new race winners, surely a lot of changing in the tables to come. One can only imagine what reason you shouldn't join us in 2 weeks' time when we head to Monaco, of all places. One of the tightest tracks on the calendar, the Principality known for its high attrition rate. We didn't have many people retire in Spain. I wonder whether we will see the opposite there as in that case anyway. I'd just like to make a big thank you to Dave Cartsmith, my cameraman, as always, for helping me show you everything and commentate on these events. My name is James Kirk. Join us in 2 weeks. And from both of us here, it's a very warm goodbye.